All right, welcome back. We continue live right here on Pittsburgh CW. It's the Nightly Sports Call, and we're taking your calls at 412-575-2600. That's the number of the Bordas and Bordas hotline. And tweets at KD Pomp if you would like to do that. So once again, you look at complicated tiebreakers. There are so many of them in the NFL. The best thing for the Steelers is to avoid them all and just win your final two games if you can do it, because it means you wouldn't have to rely on anything Tennessee does. You wouldn't have to rely on anything anyone else does. If you lose one of these two, then it opens up the door, because there's a lot of different tiebreakers involved with this. One is conference record, which would be the same if this happened, if the Steelers lost to one of these two AFC teams and the Tennessee Titans would beat the Texans. So they have the same. Common games, they look at that, it's 3-2, best of my math. And then the Titans would have the strength of victory. Now that's a tiebreaker. That means how many points you win by. And if you follow the Steelers this year, you know that they haven't won by many games like that. So they would lose just about every tiebreaker to every team, because their games have been low scoring for the most part and also very close. So that's why the Titans would have the advantage. But the Steelers can make that all null and void by just winning the final two games. 412-575-2600. That's the number of the hotline. Let's go to it right now. Jim in Castle Shannon is first. Hey, Jim, what's up?
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. I think the Steelers' chances of winning tomorrow looks good, pretty good, because, I mean, actually, they played good last week just for the turnovers. And the Penguins, they're on
That's
fire.
a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, they've been, turning their league apart. They won, 8 out of the last 9 games. So they're doing good.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing good considering all the injuries they have there. When you have guys like Crosby, Hornquist, Dumoulin, Schultz, those are two of your top 3 defensemen out. Hornquist, as I said, Bukestad. It's pretty good. They're getting contributions from third, fourth line, guys in the minors coming up, and most importantly, they're getting good goaltending. So that's where it all starts.
Question I want to ask you. What if Tennessee loses tomorrow and the Steelers win? That'll put the Steelers a game ahead of them, right?
Right. It doesn't matter, because if the Steelers should lose to Baltimore and Tennessee would beat.
And then what if Tennessee ties and don't lose?
If they tie, then that's a whole different tiebreaker, and it goes into play. It would actually help Tennessee, I believe. But, again, I don't foresee a tie anywhere. I think they'll lose to the Saints tomorrow, because the Saints still have plenty to play for. Although the 49ers had trailed the Rams tonight, they came back with a couple of defensive plays. But I think the Saints are going to want to win that game tomorrow. They probably will. They're favored to win it. And I think then the last game of the year is Tennessee again with a Texans team that may have nothing to play for, and that's normally a situation. But the Baltimore Ravens may have nothing to play for either.
If they win them, right? They don't have nothing to play for. Maybe they'll just have all their regulars not play that game.
We'll see. All right, Jim, thanks. Happy holidays to you, and thank you for calling the sports call. Let's go out to Crabtree, Pennsylvania. We got Bill on the line. What's up, William?
Bob, how you doing?
We're good. How are you doing tonight?
Two quick questions. Did you think Joe Hayden should have made the Pro Bowl? And number two, I kind of think our offensive line needs to shake up at left guard with Ramon Foster. What say you, my man?
Well, first of all, I think Ramon Foster's probably in his last year playing here. He's been around for a long time. As far as Joe Hayden is concerned, I think there are too many other good corners in the league. I think he's had a really good year. He's been solid over there opposite Steve Nelson. Those two guys have been really good together. I think Mike Hilton, under the radar, has been really good for them. Not many people talk about him. But they have guys making – I think Bud Dupree was the one clear-cut snub. If I had to pick one guy on the Steeler roster who deserved to be there and isn't, it's Bud Dupree.
Good question.
And he also got – it's a question of reputation. The Pro Bowl is highly reputation kind of game. Marquise Pouncey, for all the great stuff he's done over his career, he was not, in my opinion at least, worthy of a Pro Bowl this year, but he got in largely because of his resume. Still having a decent year, but he missed some time. It's not like he's been the normal Marquise Pouncey out there, although he's clearly a leader with this team. But you know my point. My point is the reputation will help you, and right now Bud Dupree doesn't have one. He's building one, and this year will help him do so. All right, thank you, William. Appreciate that. In Crabtree, Pennsylvania. Let's go to Dan from Franklin Township. What's up, Dan? How are you?
Good, Bob. Hey, the gentleman earlier might have answered my question. My question was, if Steelers beat the Jets this weekend and Titans lose to the Saints, does Week 17 have any implication as far as the playoffs for the Steelers?
Oh, absolutely. The Steelers, no matter what happens in Tennessee tomorrow, the Steelers have to win their final two games. If Tennessee
And-
loses
and-
tomorrow, wins their last game, then they would be in if the Steelers drop one.
Tennessee's playing who in Week 17? Do you know?
Houston, the team that just won the AFC South, so they may have nothing to play for, and they may want to rest players.
Got you there. Thanks.
But it also could help the Steelers that they play in Baltimore when they want to rest players. It's not worth risking guys who are very important to your postseason. And the problem with that is sometimes you can get, for example, Baltimore. If they don't play guys in the final week and then they have a week off, it's a couple of weeks without football, and it can make you a little bit rusty. There's always that debate, but I'm going to make sure my key players do not play. I don't want any injuries heading into a game like that, so I think it works well for them. All right, let's go out to Mount Lebanon. We have Earl on the line. Earl, welcome to Sports Call. How are you?
Thanks. Pretty good.
Good.
If the if the Steelers win tomorrow and the Titans lose, we're in. We're in the playoffs.
No, we're not.
Why not?
Because they still have to win the final game if Tennessee should also win. Tennessee would end up with the same conference record as the Steelers if the Steelers go 1-1 and they win that final game. It's the same record, then you go to conference record, then you go to common opponents, then you go to strength of victory. There's all these different components, and Tennessee would have that advantage if that scenario, as you just described, would play out.
But if we won and the Titans lost,
Right.
we would go up a full game on them, and we could afford. We'd be in.
No.
If the opposite happened on
No, they're not
Friday,
in. Here's why they're not in. If the Titans drop to 8-7, which they would, the Steelers would go to 9-6, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's say the Steelers lose to Baltimore then, and they end up 9-7, but Tennessee wins their final game at 9-7. Same records, right?
Yes.
All right, then you go to conference record, and that would end up the same. So then you go to the next tiebreaker, which is common opponents, which would be the same, and then you would have to go to strength of victory. I believe this is how it goes. And strength of victory is very, very much in favor of Tennessee.
All right then.
Okay.
I stand corrected. Thanks, Bob.
All right, Earl, thank you. Appreciate the call. We'll take a break, get more calls in. It's 412-575-2600. It always does get complicated this time of year. And if the Steelers should lose both and Tennessee should lose both, guess what? Cleveland and Oakland may sneak in. That won't happen, but you'd be surprised how deep it goes in tiebreakers. We're going to take a break, come back with more of your calls right here live on Pittsburgh CW.
Portions of this program sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook.